For the pianist, his keyboard. For the writer, his vocabulary. For the draftsman, his pencil. To draw is to make marks, marks that are the equivalent of a sense of discovery, enabling a man to stand upon an empty stage and cry his ghostly manifesto. But first, I draw a setting, sketch for this drama a backdrop. Rising from a wilderness of forests, from a hostile wasteland, is Gormenghast. As far as the eye can see, a tide of roofs rise and fall. Towers and domes and broken battlements cut the skyline like grey, time-worn teeth. Massive and ruinous, it broods in umbra. Gormenghast, a monument to the rituals of forgotten centuries. Gormenghast, a memorial to the labor of dead days.
Gormenghast, the second of two plays based on the Titus Groan novels of Mervyn Peake, dramatised for radio by Brian Sibley. With Sting as Steerpike, Bernard Hepton as Dr. Prunesqualler, Judy Parfitt as Irma Prunesqualler, Eleanor Braun as Gertrude, Sheila Hancock as Clarice and Cora, Jill Lidston as Fuchsia, Cyril Shaps as Flay, Morris Denham as Barquentine, Michael Aldridge as Belgrove, Hilda Schroeder as Nanny Slag, Vicky Ireland as Titus, aged 7, Julian Firth as Titus, aged 17, and Freddie Jones as the artist. Gormenghast.
So the paper stage is set, lies bare for all to take, to strut, to mime upon, to creep or float across, the spangled somersault, the dove-grey dawdle. First upon this stage, a small grey horse careering down endless corridors of echoing stone. Upon its back, Titus.
Faster! Faster! Faster!
Titus Groan, 77th Lord of Gormenghast. Titus is 7, suckled on shadows, weaned on webs of ritual. Titus, heir to a crumbling summit, to a sea of nettles, to an empire of red rust, to ancient laws written in an alphabet of arch and isle. Wherever he rides, ghosts are disturbed and ripples widen in dark rings over goose-flesh waters. Who are these ghosts? His father, Sepulcrave, gone mad, devoured by owls. Sourdust, lord of ritual, burnt to ashes in the library. Swelter, chief chef of Gormenghast, killed like a pig on a stick by Flay, first servant to the House of Groan, now banished to the wilderness beyond the castle's walls. And gentle Kida, Titus' foster mother, loved and loveless, who bore a child and stepped from a precipice into a great well of twilight air. These are the ghosts of Gormenghast, the lost characters. Of a sudden, upon one of the turrets, an insubstantial form, ephemeral yet overcharged with life. For one short moment it stands there, and then it is
gone
into the darkness. In the tombs of the Groans are assembled the living of Gormenghast.
We mark the passing of their ladyships, Clarice and Cora Groan, sisters to Sepulcrave, the 76th Earl of Groan.
Barquentine, master of ritual, son of Sourdust, shifting his weight from his one good leg to his crutch, his tattered rags rustling like dusty feathers.
Draw near and pay due homage to those of the blood whom we commemorate. Though the resting place of their earthly remains is unknown to us, yet still may we honour their spirits. Draw near.
They draw near.
And be silent.
Something here has changed.
Gertrude, Countess of Groan, mother of Titus.
All is not as it should be.
A bullfinch nests in her red hair.
I hated Clarisse and Cora. I'm not sorry.
Fuchsia, sister of Titus, sullen and incalculable.
I'm glad they're dead.
Oh, my poor heart. Why does everyone keep dying?
Mrs. Slag, nanny to Titus and Fuchsia, small and withered like an autumn leaf.
I shall be next. I know I shall.
Another inexplicable page of contemporaneous history. Most puzzling.
Alfred Prunesqualler, physician to Gormenghast, he of the affected gesture.
Yes, indeed, veritably enigmatic. Where are the bodies, one wonders? A suicide note, but no bodies. Why?
Why does Alfred keep staring at Steerpike?
Miss Irma Prunesqualler, the doctor's closely swathed and bone-protruding sister.
I said, why does Alfred keep staring at Steerpike?
Why is old Prunesqualler staring at me like that?
Steerpike, high-shouldered to a degree little short of malformation.
He doesn't know anything.
His close-set eyes the colour of dried blood.
He cannot. I have been far too careful.
Steerpike, the finder of their Ladyship's suicide note. Steerpike, former kitchen boy, climbing up the spiral staircase of Gormenghast's very soul. Why do you intrigue me so?
That youth. That Steerpike. How did he become a central player in this drama?
That's all. It's over. You can go away.
The circle breaks. The witnesses of ritual depart. The Countess proceeds with monumental and unhurried measure.
Prunesqualler, attend me.
Prunesqualler dances to her side with a fluttering of the hands and a rolling of the eyes.
Madam?
Prunesqualler, I am not easy in my heart.
In what way, your Ladyship?
There is mischief in the castle. Where it is I do not know, but there is mischief.
They pass on. Still in the tomb stands Fuchsia, the inky black of her hair falling motionlessly around her face and throat, warm and tawny.
Good afternoon, madam.
Steerpike, neat, adroit, slick as the sword stick he carries, sharp as its edge, polished as its blade.
May I present my card?
His infernal slyness, the arch-fluke Steerpike.
None other, madam.
You can leave off madaming me. You know my name.
I do. And I will always call you by your proper name. And in a very proper tone of voice, Lady Fuchsia.
Producing with a bow a single rosebud, while observing with one eye the retreating figures of Prunesqualler and the Countess.
What exactly is it you fear?
An enemy. Whether ghost or human, I do not know, but an enemy.
It is not a ghost. Ghosts have no itch for rebellion.
Rebellion? Who would dare to rebel? Have you your suspicions?
I have no proof, but I will watch for you, for there is evil abroad, and no mistake.
Worse than that, there is perfidy, and I will crush its life out. I will break it, not only for Titus' sake and for his dead fathers, but more for Gormenghast.
In an obscure precinct of the castle, a dead end, a promontory of dank stone, is a squalid room locked and bolted from without. And within...
When we rule, we must wear the crown on alternate days. Don't be stupid. We must saw the crown in half.
The twins, Cora and Clarisse, sisters to Sepulcrave. Their ladyships not dead, merely entombed alive.
Oh, what a long time life takes. Sometimes I think it's hardly worth encroaching on.
I don't know anything about encroaching.
Oh.
And how, my lovebirds?
You haven't been here for a long time.
How true.
Had you forgotten us?
Not a bit of it.
Then where have you been?
Yes, where have you been?
Yes.
Sit down!
Staring them out of countenance until their heads drop.
Now listen to me. How many times do I have to tell you? The entire castle is suffering from the plague. The streets and squares are full of the dead and dying.
Oh, terrible.
Terrible.
You alone among the inhabitants of Gormenghast are free from this hideous disease. And why? Because I, Steerpike, have kept it from your door. You think that's been easy?
They shake their heads like pendulums.
And how dare you question me? How dare you? I shall not return until you fully apologise for this outrage.
Cora?
Yes, Clarice?
Cora, I think I should very much like to do something.
What would you like to do?
I should very much like to kill Steerpike.
So would I.
A shuffling of seasons, a passage of days. A new scene is set. An amber chamber, its air fuscous with a mixture of smells. Stale tobacco, dry chalk, rotten wood, ink, alcohol, and imperfectly cured leather. The professor's common room.
Gentlemen!
Belgrove, headmaster of Gormenghast. Big of head, with a leonine shock of snow-white hair, he might pass for a prophet if it were not for his small, expressionless grey-green eyes and his uneven, carnivorous teeth.
Silence, if you please! I have an edict from Barquentine.
Damn Barquentine with his notices! Damn him, I say!
Step away, man! Step away! Give us the gist of it, love!
Edict 1597577361544329621707193 to Belgrove, headmaster, and to the gentlemen of the professorial staff. This 10th day of the 6th month, in the 8th year of the 77th Earl, to which Titus Lord of Gormenghast, notice and warning is given in regard to your attitude, treatment, and methods of behaviour and approach in respect of the aforementioned Earl, who is now at the threshold of the age of freedom.
In one of the classrooms, a new pupil, Titus, awaits his professor. Unwilling victim, trapped in a summer prison, marking this the first of many creeping hours, by the slow tick of the clock and the lazy buzzing of a blue bottle. Tick, clock, tick.
60 seconds in a minute. 60 minutes in an hour. 60 times 60.
Multiply the sixes and add on how many noughts?
2, I suppose. 6 sixes are 36. 36 plus 2 noughts is 3600.
3,600 seconds in an hour, and only a quarter of an hour left of this lesson, which has never begun.
The customs, traditions, and observances, and above all the sense of the duties attached to every branch of the castle's life, be instilled and taken.
Young Titus, lazily, abstractedly, becomes conscious of the idea of colour, of things having colours, of everything having its own particular colour.
Ink.
Blue, dark, musty, deep as cruel waters at night.
Exercise books.
Rectangles of washed-out blue and laurel green.
desk.
Sepia with golden browns and yellows where the surface has been cut or broken.
Marble.
A glass marble beside the inkpot, its swirling spirals of rainbow colours twisting within the cold, clear glass.
Red, yellow, green, violet, blue.
And the white and crystal world so perfect, all about them.
Blue, violet, green, yellow, red.
Round and in and out in endless convolutions.
In every particular and on every occasion as they would treat any other minor in their hands without let or favour. Signed as for Barkentine, Master of Ritual, Keeper of the Observances, and Hereditary Overlord of the Manuscripts by Steerpike, Amanuensis.
A few moments later, the husky whispering sound of a score of flying gowns as the professors of Gormenghast whisk along the corridors towards a dozen classrooms.
Very well then, Irma, my dove.
Prune Squalor, flicking a hair from the sleeve of his coat and flashing his teeth.
Very well then, and so you shall.
Alfred. Alfred, are you serious?
Irritably readjusting her black-lensed glasses upon the bridge of her long, pointed nose.
I said, are you serious, Alfred?
Indubitably, sweet perturbation. If you want to throw a party, then a party we will throw.
Then you are resolved, Alfred?
It is you who are resolved. I would never have advised such a thing as a party. You're not the type to give a party. You're not even the type to go to a party. You have nothing of the flippancy about you that makes a party go. But you are determined.
Do you think we should call it a soiree?
There is no law against it that I know of. And when, my dear, is this soiree to occur?
My gown of 1,000 frills with its corsage of hand-painted parrots will be ready within 10 days.
Parrots?
Why not?
But, Irma, think of our guests. What ladies, my dear, will have dresses as resplendent?
There will be no women.
No women?
Our guests will be males, Alfred, for I am thinking of getting married.
Irma! You aren't?
Oh, yes, I am.
Irma, my revelation. Tell me but this. Who are these males, these stags, these rams, these tomcats, these cocks, stoats and ganders that you have in mind?
The professors.
Then, to return to your gown, Irma, do you not think that something calculated to turn the thoughts of the professors to your femininity, your desirability, something less aggressive than parrots, might be wise?
Alfred, I imagine when it comes to parrots, you can leave them to me.
I will, Irma. I will.
Morning, black and murky. The castle lies asleep.
Who's there? It's me, Fuchsia. Titus.
What do you want?
Nothing. I'm going for a ride.
It's beastly weather.
Goodbye.
Tiptoeing through silent halls to a southern gateway, running across a walled-in courtyard to the castle stables. An acre of stone away, Barkentine, master of ritual, descends the walnut stairs on crutch and withered leg. Barkentine, with a face made of age, a bearded fossil of a thing that smoulders and decays upon his shoulders.
Good morning to you, sir.
Steerpike, stepping from the shadows, his pale face shining, his dark red eyes disconcertingly alive.
To hell with your good morning, you peeled switch. You shine like a bloody lentil. What do you do to yourself, eh? Every boxy sunrise of the year, eh? That you burst out of the decent darkness in that plucked way?
I suppose it's this habit of washing I seem to have got into, sir.
Washing, you wireworm. What do you think you are, Mr. Steerpike, a lily?
I'd hardly say that, sir.
Nor would I. The skin and bones and hair, that's all you bloody are, nothing more. The Dull yourself down. Get the shine off you. No more of this oil paper nonsense every dawn.
Quite so, sir. I'm too visible.
You can be invisible enough when you want to be, eh? Can't tell you can be nowhere when it suits you, eh? I see through you, my pretty whelp. I see through you.
What, when I'm invisible, sir?
But by the piss of Satan, Pug, your sauce is dangerous.
As Steerpike treads lightly down the stairs behind the cripple, it seems to him that the time is almost ripe for the master of ritual to be dispatched. Passing through one of the arches in the outer wall, Titus turns his small grey horse in the direction of Gormenghast forest. In his mouth he tastes the bitterness of leaves. The smell of forest earth burns for a moment in his nostrils. Titus imagines that he is...
Free! Who am I to be told to go to school? To attend this, to do that, to be here, to go there? I am the 77th Earl of Gormenghast, but I am also Titus Groan in my own right, and I will be free! Free!
Anna and Alfred Prunesqualler hope to have the pleasure of Professor Belgrove's company on Friday evening at 7 o'clock. RSVP.
In a quadrangle beneath the common room, a pandemonium of activity. At its center, Steerpike.
We will split into 6 groups and scour the entire castle wing by wing until we find the Earl. The Lord Titus must be found, you understand? Then go to it!
Titus, beneath high branches. Ahead of him, the forest floor like a sea of golden moss. From its heaving expanses arise a phantasmic gathering of ancient oaks like dappled gods. Suddenly, he sees, for the merest fraction of an instant, a living creature. Floating through the golden air like a feather, slender arms along the sides of the gracile body, the head turned slightly away, the quintessence of detachment, the sense of something intrinsically tameless, of a distilled and thin air beauty. Then it is gone.
I am dreaming.
Titus, frightened, excited.
My lord!
Stepping from the shadows, a gaunt creature, tall and thin, his cadaverous head lowered.
You are the Lord, Titus?
Yes. Who are you?
Flay.
Flay? I've heard of you.
Aye, likely enough, my lord.
They told me you were dead, Mr. Flay.
No doubt. Alone?
Yes. I escaped.
Escaped?
I ran away.
Oh.
I'm hungry.
Oh. Follow me, lordship. We'll have a rabbit, and a pigeon, and a long sleep.
Within Gormenghast Castle, the search for Titus continues.
Have you seen his lordship?
Oh, you're forever making a body jump. What do you want?
His lordship, Titus, where is he?
How should I know? Nobody tells me anything. Nobody bothers with me anymore.
Be quiet, you silly old woman.
Oh, you've no right to speak rudely to me. I am Mrs. Slag, nurse to the Groans, and I might as well be dead, a matter of fact.
You are a foolish old bat who should have died a century ago.
How dare you? How dare you? I know just what you're up to, Master Steerpike. Trying to worm your way into Lady Fuchsia's affections. Well, you won't get her, you know. You won't.
Nanny, what's the matter?
How dare he speak to me like that?
What have you said?
My Lady Fuchsia. dear Nanny Slag here has totally misunderstood me. I merely came to ask you both whether you'd seen Lord Titus.
It's not true, Fuchsia. He's lying.
Mrs. Slag is obviously distressed at something.
Oh, my poor...
There, Nanny, it's all right. Titus has gone riding.
Where, Lady Fuchsia, where?
I don't know. He didn't say. He never does.
I am in the middle of an adventure.
Titus in a cave lit by the red light of a fire. The flames dance and the walls leap to and fro.
I like it.
Not proper, Lordship.
I'm a bit frightened, Mr. Flay. It's my first night away from the castle. I suppose they're all looking for me.
Ah, most likely.
Do you ever get frightened? All on your own?
Exiled.
What does that mean? Exiled?
Exiled? Banished, it means. Forbidden, Lordship. Forbidden service. Sacred service. To have your heart dug out. That's what exiled means.
But you are free, Mr. Flay. I want to be free.
A wicked thing to say, my lord. You are a groan of the blood, and last of the line. You must not fail the stones.
Mr. Flay.
Lordship?
Mr. Flay, I saw something in the oak woods.
What kind of thing?
A thing of the air. A flying thing. Sort of delicate. But I couldn't see its face. It floated, you know, across the trees.
His eyes begin to droop.
Was it real? Have you seen it, Mr. Flay? What was it? Tell me, please. Because...
Titus is asleep.
Wrong. Very wrong.
Morning. Titus takes a deep breath and enters the red-stoned yard of Gormenghast Castle. His heart beating wildly, his face perspiring, his head held high, he runs to Fuchsia's room.
Fuchsia!
A dishevelled urchin, his eyes burning with tears. For the first time, holding him passionately in her arms and kissing him.
What will he do to me, Fuchsia? I will protect you. Fuchsia, I have things to tell you. Secrets. Secrets? Yes, an adventure.
Oh, just look at your hands, your legs, your face. Oh, my poor weak heart. Look at the grime and the cuts and bruises. Oh, how could you? I could smack you, you cruel, dirty lordship thing.
That won't be necessary, Mrs. Slag.
What do you want now?
His lordship is to appear before Barquentine to explain his behaviour.
Why?
He's committed a misdemeanour and must be punished.
Oh, my poor little lordship.
I very much doubt if it will be too severe.
He winks at Titus conspiratorially, but a revulsion takes hold of Titus, and he recoils from that wink like flesh from the touch of a toad.
Get washed, my lord, and don't be too long.
The lichen fort, a round, squat edifice, erected on a distant outcrop of the castle wall for a purpose now forgotten. Titus has been kept in the fort for a week as punishment for his offence. Today he has a visitor.
There you are.
Belgrove, complete in his zodiac gown and dog-eared mortarboard, attempting to appear dignified and strong, to inspire confidence, evoke respect.
Oh, how are you, my friend?
All right, thank you, sir.
Give me your chair, young fellow. You can sit upon the table, can't you? Of course you can. I seem to remember being able to do things like that when I was a boy.
Yes, sir.
Now, what am I to do with you, Titus? You have been punished. You are being punished. So I'm glad to say there's no need for us to trouble any more about that side of it. But what am I to say to you in loco parentis? You would say I was an old man, wouldn't you, my small friend?
I suppose so, sir.
Yes, yes. And as an old man, I should by now be very wise and deep, shouldn't I, my boy?
I don't know, sir.
Oh, well, I should, my boy. You can take it from me.
Yes, sir.
My young friend, I propose to talk to you as man to man, or even as boy to boy. Oh, I was a boy once myself, so you may believe it.
No, sir. I mean, yes, sir.
What is it I remember most about being a boy?
I don't know, sir.
Well, I'll tell you. It's playing marbles.
Oh!
Oh, me, my young friend, the sound of those silly marbles.
I've got some marbles, sir.
My boy, this is an extraordinary coincidence, for so have I.
Oh, sir! I never thought you'd have marbles.
My boy, let that be a lesson to you. Now, where shall we play, eh? The floor? Oh, yes. Good grief, my young friend. What a long way down it is to the shore. Now my poor old muscles creak. We must examine the terrain, like generals, eh? Find our battle.
Yes, sir. I'll make one of the squares here, sir. And if you go over this...
Well. What a dreadful place to jail an earl in, by all that's merciless. And where is he, this fabulous little wrongdoer?
Hello, Dr. Prune. We were just going to play marbles.
Marbles, eh? By all that's erudite, and a very fine invention, too. God bless my spherical soul. But you have an accomplice. And if it isn't Professor Belgrove, then my eyes are behaving in a very peculiar manner.
My dear doctor, it is Aye, indeed. I am here to bring my pupil wisdom and succour, to lead him back into the current of wise living. For who knows, even the old...
I don't like current of wise living, Belgrove. A beastly phrase for a headmaster, if I may make so damnably bold. But I'm delaying the game.
Why don't you play two, Dr. Prune? Then we could have three corners.
How do you play three corners?
I will show you, for it is a noble game.
Well done, Dr. Prune.
Marbles crash one against another. Spin in their tracks, large shuddering the squares, and skim the prison floor like shooting stars. While Alfred Prune Squalor is thus engaged, Steerpike lets himself into the doctor's dispensary and selects from the shelf a bottle of livid green liquid, a bottle marked poison. He holds it up to the window. It shines like a huge emerald.
Oh, my poor weak heart!
24 hours later, Nanny Slag is found dead in her small room.
Oh, Doctor, I don't feel anything.
Oh, Fuchsia, my dear.
Am I wicked, Dr. Prune? I don't understand.
No, of course not, Gypsy. It's quite natural.
Nothing's natural, nothing.
What's worrying you, Fuchsia?
Several things. Important things. Dr. Prune, what happened to my father?
I only know that he was very ill, and you remember that as well as I do. Just as you remember his disappearance. If anyone alive knows what happened to him, I don't know who that man might be, unless it were Flay.
Mr. Flay is alive, Dr. Prune?
No. Why do you say that?
Titus has seen him.
Titus?
Yes, Doctor. In the woods. He lives in a cave and hunts for his food. He asked after me. He's very loyal.
Oh, poor old Flay. Poor old faithful Flay. But you mustn't see him, Fuchsia. It would do nothing but harm.
I must see Flay. He loved me. I want to take him something.
No, Fuchsia, you mustn't go. You will become distressed, more distressed than you are now, if you start escaping from the castle. And Titus also. This is all very wrong. He's not old enough to be so wild and secret. God bless me. What else does he say?
This is all in secret, Doctor.
Yes, Fuchsia, of course it is.
He has seen something.
What sort of thing?
A flying thing.
A flying thing?
I don't know what he means, but Before Nanny Slag died, she talked about when Titus was born and when Kida came to nurse him, and how she went away to the outer dwellings and had a baby, and how it wasn't like other babies, and how Kida killed herself, and how the dwellers hated the baby and were frightened by her, and how, when she grew up, she left them, only sometimes they heard her laughing at them at night, and they called her the Thing. Nanny said the Thing is Titus' foster sister, and when Titus told me of the flying thing in the air, I wondered, Dr. Prune, whether... Only I'm frightened for Titus.
The doctor stares out of a window into the darkness, where a shooting star trails through the sky.
I must think about all you have told me, Fuchsia. I will try to help you, but I must have time to think.
Another day. Fuchsia makes her way to the retainer's graveyard, a few wild flowers clasped in her hand. Arriving, she sees
Steerpike.
Upon one knee, in an attitude of grief, beside Nanny's grave, his hand upon a wreath of red roses. He has timed the moment perfectly.
What are you doing here? You never loved her.
Lady Fuchsia.
Rising to his feet and bowing.
I did not know her as you did, your ladyship, but it struck me as so mean a grave for an old lady to be buried in. And I was able to get these roses, so...
His simulation of embarrassment is exact.
So I simply thought...
Then removing his wreath to the foot of the grave.
But your wildflowers, they're the ones that will please her spirit most, wherever she is.
I don't know anything about that. It's all nonsense anyway. But you... I didn't think you were sentimental.
He hurls the wreath from him into the dark.
I have my moods.
Fuchsia is motionless. Then, springing at the young man, she buries the nails of her hands in his high cheekbones. The green, porous evening hangs like a setting for his thin body, his whiteness, and the hectic wounds upon his cheeks.
What have I done?
Remorsefully, she reaches out to him. Quick as an adder, he is in her arms. They trip and fall, arms around each other. Her heart pounds against his ribs, her cheek against his lips. He moves not a muscle, but his mind races madly ahead. Then, turning, Fuchsia sees that their pillow is the narrow grave mound of her old nurse. Forcing Steerpike aside and scrambling to her feet, she bounds away like a wild thing into the darkness. Irma Prunesqualler greets the dawn, the day of her party.
My soiree.
Hissing, steaming hot water pumps into her bath, while she, in an attitude of exquisite coyness, tosses handfuls of emerald and lilac crystals into the sumptuous depths. In a score of classrooms throughout the day, there is not a clock that is not stared at least 60 times an hour, not by the boys, but by their masters. When evening comes, they are frantic with preparations, while alone in his rooms, Belgrove ponders.
What does it mean? My staff assure me, they have it on good authority from friends of friends, that Miss Prunesqualler has the very devil of a passion for me. Our party is merely a way for her to be near me. That she dare not ask me alone for fear that it might seem too blatant, too indelicate. Oh, poppycock, that's what it is. They want to make a fool of me, hoping to see me in constant flight with Irma on my tail. But I shall turn the tables on them and myself pursue Miss Prunesqualler. After all, what is wrong with a fine, upright woman with a long, sharp nose? But what of it? Noses have to be some shape or another.
In her recently redecorated salon, washed-out coral and a green that is almost grey, Irma, minus her dark-lensed glasses, blindly scans the spotless room for blemishes.
Irma, my wisp of whimsy.
Oh, Alfred, how do I seem to you? How do I seem?
I tell you what, Irma, You've made something out of yourself, and if it ain't a work of art, it's as near as makes no matter. By all that emanates, you've brought it off.
What do you mean, Alfred? What do you mean?
I mean that I hardly know you. Turn around. What is it that has altered you? Good grief! I've got it. Oh, dear me, quite so. By all that's pneumatic. How silly of me. You've got a bosom. Or haven't you?
Alfred, that is not for you to prove.
God forbid, my love.
Outside in the quadrangle, a deep cloud of red moves through the gloom. The professors in their ceremonial gowns. At their head strides Belgrove, magnificent in a swirl of white voluminous silk, embroidered across the back with a large G.
Oh, Alfred.
What is it, Irma, my love?
I wondered if you'd do something for me.
Just name it, my dear.
You might be shocked, but I wondered, dear, if you would take my bust to the bedroom and refill it with hot water. The bottle has got very cold, and I don't want to catch a chill.
Irma, have you no modesty?
My old friend, you haven't forgotten what I said, have you?
What's that, Bertram?
About Irma. It may be difficult for you. I have even more recent information. She's dead nuts on you, old man. Dead nuts.
Better watch your steps, Chief. Watch them carefully.
Yes, I will watch my steps. Have no fear.
In we go, then. La, in we go. Terribly gay now. We must all be terribly gay.
Professor Cutflower!
Oh, la, la! This is, my dear Miss Prunescore, this possibly is quite the most marvellous gathering.
And so, with this shape and that shape, with this walk and that walk, the professors make their way down the length of the salon to where their host and hostess await them.
Great spearheads, Irma. How determined, how martial you look. Relax a little, melt within yourself. Think of milk and honey.
The headmaster!
Something in white is approaching Irma Prunesqualler.
Think, my dear, of jellyfish.
Be quiet. Grandeur. That's what it is. Grandeur.
A daughter of Eve, a living focus, a cosmos, a pulse, the great abstraction woman. She is there by God from head to foot and matchless. Miss Prunesqualler.
Headmaster. Oh, sweetest mercy. What is he doing?
He is taking your hand and planting in the damp of your palm a kiss.
Oh, the wild, thorn throb of it. Oh, the great, gentle, august, brilliant lion.
The clocks of the world stand still.
I am in his power.
Or should do.
He has awakened me.
And then
Oh!
her bosom begins to slip. In the complex arrangement of string, safety pins and tape which hold the hot water bottle in place, time has found a weakness.
I must beg you to excuse me for a moment, Headmaster, but I shall return. The kind of woman that the Headmaster may admire. A dame in all the high sensuousness of her sex.
Outside in the darkness, Steerpike is making a secret journey between walls sheer and windowless, across naked acres paved in stone, beneath carved facades festooned with sea-green ivy, towards a grey world of dusty rooms, in one of which their ladyships Cora and Clarice sit immured. In the sky above the Prunesqualler's garden, there rides a hunter's moon. Irma has seen to it. And in a dappled arbor, thick with clotted midnight.
Are you seated, Miss Broomsquire?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed.
In comfort, madam?
In comfort, Mr. Headmaster, and in peace.
Peace, my dear lady? What kind of peace?
The peace of those who have found what it is to offer themselves without reserve to something august and tender.
Tell me, dearest lady, is it of me that you speak?
It was of you I spoke. You, Mr. Belgrove.
Oh.
Do not touch me. Do not tempt me. Do nothing to me. I would not have us desecrate this moment.
Good evening, my purple lovebirds.
Steerpike. Before him, hand in hand, the twins, their faces white as lard.
I addressed you, ladies, or did you not hear me? Well?
They are staring not at Steerpike, but at something just above him.
What do you find so intriguing to stare at, my doves?
Glancing up, he sees a great axe dangling a dozen feet above him, its cold and grisly weight of steel suspended from a spider's web of cords and strings.
So!
With a backward leap, he is through the door. With rapid and purposeful steps, Steerpike returns to the castle. While his former patron, Miss Irma Prunescholar, becomes aware of a hand touching her naked shoulder in the garden darkness.
Irma, is this desecration? Are we blotting the whitest of all love's copybooks? It is for you to say. For myself, I am walking among rainbows.
My wildest dreams, my very wildest dreams have become real, have become something I can touch. My little fancies, my little visions, they are substance. They are you. I said, they are you.
We are holding one another's dreams in our very arms.
Oh, my master.
Oh, my dearest one.
Oh, sucking fire! But it gripes my heart.
Barquentine, the silted, cheese-like fissures of his filthy face cracking in a scowl.
No Earl but a brat, and for me, no Taro but this upstart of a Steerpike bastard.
Scratching himself disgustingly, loins, buttocks, belly and ribs.
Upstart pissworm. He's learned too much. Open books that were not meant for him to open. Oh, it's gone on long enough. Too long by the blood of hags.
Behind him, a shadow shifts in the candlelight.
He must go. I must be alone, all by the cock of the great ape. He'll have the keys off me with his bloody efficiency. Saucy bull-prong.
The cold tip of a sword stick, sharp as a needle, hovers within an inch of the dirty turtle-neck.
What the...
Dark blood trickles over the wrinkled terrain.
Oh, blasted whelp!
Really, Barquentine, you can be most uncivil at times.
Traitor!
You really should be more careful what you say, old man.
I said traitor, and bloody traitor you are.
Steerpike snatches a candlestick and sweeps the tiny flame across the upturned face. The lifeless beard alight, the rotten rags ablaze.
Heretic!
Catching hold of Steerpike's coat and clutching Veals to him, an ape on fire. A burning leech. Steerpike's clothes aflame, his cheek and throat scorched crimson. Filled with darkness, his head swimming, running towards the square of darkness that is the window, Barquentine upon his back, for a moment lit like demons against a starless sky. Then they are gone. Down, down, down. To the black waters of the moat below. Steerpike opens his eyes and sees, at the foot of the bed, Dr. Prunescholar with his back towards him. For a second, gears shift and change within his mind. Then he closes his eyes again.
I tried to save you.
What?
Prunesqualler's bizarre and chiselled face without any drollery of expression.
Oh, Master, I tried to save you.
You tried to save whom?
I tried. Doctor.
Yes?
Doctor, I couldn't hold him.
You will tell me about it tomorrow.
I must tell you now. He was on fire. I tried to put it out. There were flames. I began to burn. I ran to the window, jumped. I couldn't hold him up. I cannot tell you.
Steerpike drifts into sham sleep. Prunesqualler, gazing from the window, turns over in his mind an earlier phrase from Steerpike's true delirium.
And the twins will make it 5.
But the ritual, the procedure, the instructions, who has given them? Who has interpreted the documents?
Mr. Flay, by his cave in the woods.
Who has made the symbols come to life?
He looks at the child he hasn't seen for years.
Who has turned the wheels of Gormenghast?
It's all right, Mr. Flay. Steerpike is doing everything.
No.
He's covered in bandages, but he directs everything from his bed.
No.
He's working all the time.
No.
He does not spare himself.
He's no master of ritual, Ladyship. No love, Ladyship. No love for Gormenghast.
I wish there wasn't any master of ritual.
Lordship, you are only a boy. No knowledge.
I am having the most moving time, Alfred.
The Prunesqualler's at tea.
I said I am having the most moving time. Are you listening or not? Oh, it is too galling the way a woman can be courted so splendidly, so nobly by her lover, only to find that her own brother is about as interested as a fly upon the wall.
Flesh of my flesh, what is it that you want to know?
No, why should I want to know anything? I was not asking you a question. I sometimes have thoughts of my own. I sometimes make statements. Alfred, I am being drawn out. I am finding treasures in myself. I am like a rich mine, Alfred. I know it. I know it.
Conversation with you, Irma, is peculiarly difficult. You leave no loops, dear one, at the end of your sentences. Nothing to help your loving brother. Nothing for his ever-willing, ever-eager, ever-shining hook.
It is too bad of you, Alfred. It is really too bad of you.
And the twins will make it 5.
Not right. Not right he should be master of ritual.
Mr. Flay, the exile, returned secretly to Gormenghast.
A kitchen thing. One of Swelter's rats. Ah!
Wandering night after night, unseen, through 1,000 turning, twisting, radiating corridors of empty stone. The silence is suddenly sliced in two, bringing Flay to a shivering halt. Sweat splashes on the stones at his feet. The thickness of a wall away, their ladyships, Cora and Clarice, mad and starving, lie down side by side and, staring at the ceiling, die.
Today, your lordship attends the ceremony of the stables.
Steerpike, the skewbald, taut crimson tissue forming fiery patterns against the wax-like pallor of his skin.
Are you listening, my lord?
What?
The ceremony of the stables requires your presence.
Clenching his silky, blood-red monkey hands.
Is that clear?
Very well.
I will return for you in half an hour. Lady Fuchsia.
Master Steerpike.
I hate him.
Why? You're becoming a bore, Titus. What's wrong with him? I think he does his work wonderfully. Do you hold his appearance against him, do you? If so, you're mean and damnable. God. Look, do you think I want to quarrel with you, Titus, my darling? You know how I love you, but you're unfair. You know nothing about him.
I hate him. I hate the cheap and stinking guts of him.
5 what?
The Countess, with a stone chat perched upon her index finger.
Exactly, your ladyship. 5 what? I will stake my brightest penny that the words, "and the twins will make it 5, means that he was making a list of individuals in his fever. Those who have died, perhaps. Sourdust, Barquentine, his lordship. Who knows?
Who knows, indeed. It is too early. We have no proof. Give him rope. But if my fear is founded, the towers themselves will sicken at his death. The oldest stones will spew.
And so the days move on, and the names of the months change, and the seasons bury one another. Belgrove and Irma are wed.
No, Irma, no.
Belgrove practicing noble expressions before a mirror.
I will not have it. I would be gratified if you would remember your station. It is not so.
Seeing another reflected in the mirror.
Why, my dear one, where did you spring from?
Please explain your behavior, husband. I said please explain.
She has found him out.
Oh.
Alone in the silent halls, Mr. Flay constructs a complex map of arrows, dotted lines, and incomprehensible devices, piecing together the anatomy of the empty world around him.
There is rottenness in the roots, a shifting in the stones, but Flay will seek it out.
The days wear out. A loosened stone falls from a high tower. The months wear out. A fly drops lifeless from a broken pane. The years wear out. A sparrow twitters in a cave of ivy. And a flux of moments, like an unquiet tide, eat at the black coast of futurity. Titus Groan is wading through his boyhood. Steerpike is climbing once again with guile and artistry. His plan now to woo the daughter of the house.
Her life is loveless, and yet she cries out for love. She's warm and vibrant, and Gormenghast is cold and dead. I must make her admire me, trust me, need me, love me. And then, when I'm quite ready, I will take her and have her.
They meet in the dusky evenings when the fearfulness of his ruined face is less of a distraction.
Where are you taking me, Steerpike?
I'm going to show you a wondrous sight. The moon rising on the pool of carp, and the carp leaping on the moon.
Night after night, secretly, they meet until an evening when their hands touch involuntarily in the darkness, and neither is withdrawn.
I will take her, and when she is a virgin no longer, if for no other reason than that of blackmail, I will have her in the palm of my hand.
A night comes when Fuchsia taps at Steerpike's door in the inky blackness and receives no reply.
Be careful, my lady.
Who's there?
A voice from nowhere.
Careful.
In fear and trembling, she lights a candle. In a moment, Steerpike is upon her, snatching the candle and crushing out the flame. From a shelf of stone above the door, Mr. Flay lowers his scarecrow frame and drops to the ground.
Fuchsia and Steerpike.
What does it mean?
Horror. Blasphemy.
Within the room, Fuchsia leans trembling against the door, shocked and resentful.
Fool.
He had said fool. With that word, the world turned over. Everything changed.
Let me out of here.
All the lords of Gormenghast are at her shoulder.
Do you hear?
The room is flooded with golden lamplight, and upon the table, with its face cupped in its wrinkled hands, sits a little monkey, dressed in a costume of red and yellow diamonds.
Fuchsia, allow me one moment, only one, in which to tell you of the danger from which we've just escaped.
Her black eyes appear quite dead.
There's no time to be lost. Though there could never be any excuse, and although I can never ask for forgiveness, yet you must allow me to explain.
Her lips are drawn tightly closed.
Fuchsia, it was for you. My violence was for you. My roughness was the roughness of love. I had no time to save you. Did you not hear the footsteps? She's just gone by.
Who?
Your mother.
My mother?
If she'd found you here... Fuchsia, you know the punishment. That is why our plans have been so secret, our rules so rigorous. Had I waited, then our lives might indeed have been ruined. For I love you, Fuchsia. You're all I've ever longed for. I called you fool, yes, but fool out of love for you.
The monkey scratches its little head and yawns.
Come on then, Satan. Come on, my wicked boy.
And the vivid little creature jumps onto the high shoulder.
And now, I will of course understand if you've no wish for Satan.
Satan?
Your monkey. I thought he would please you. I made his clothes myself.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Everything's changed. I don't feel the same anymore. I want to go now.
As you please. But I implore you, try and understand.
I will never understand. It's no good, however much you talk.
Grant me one favour, Fuchsia.
What?
Meet me tomorrow night so we can talk. Not about my faults, not about this terrible chasm between us, but about all the happy things. Will you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, God, I suppose so.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And then you can let me know if you've any use for Satan. Because he is yours, and you would like to know, wouldn't you, Satan, to whom you belong.
Steerpike, I think you're going soft.
The time has come, Satan, for me to act. I must draw together the final threads of my plan, and I must do it now. Mustn't I? Eh? Or else...
Something, the merest intimation, steals upon him. It is as if the ground were slipping away beneath his feet.
Tomorrow, I shall resolve it all.
The castle is as silent as some pole-axed monster, inert, breathless, spread-eagled.
Hurry, Lordship, hurry!
In the darkness before a dawn that might never come, the 17-year-old Titus is scrambling into his clothes.
What's wrong, Mr. Flay?
Hurry, Lordship. Explain later. Hurry now.
Out of the dormitory, down long, cold flights of stairs they run, to the cloisters with their arches full of night.
Mr. Flay, why are we here?
Look!
In the middle of the quadrangle, leaning against the ragged silhouette of a thorn tree, is the richer blackness of...
Steerpike! Why? What is he waiting for?
Don't know, Lordship. We must find out. You must be witness. For who will believe the word of an exile against the master of ritual?
Witness what?
Something's wrong, Lordship. Very wrong. Can't explain, only feelings. But I know him. After all these years, I know him well. His time is ripe. We must be there.
quadrangle.
What of it?
He is on our side.
Then you must fetch him. If Steerpike is gone when you return, then I will be gone too. Follow me. I have chalk. I'll leave a trail. But be silent. Now go.
Yes, Mr. Flay.
No law against leaning on a tree at night. What is it I fear?
Tonight I will have her at my mercy. I will awaken her, dazzle her, and if need be, seduce her. Though she prove a tigress, I will take her and all else will follow. But first there is a loose end to be attended to. I must be sure. I must have confirmation.
Steerpike yawns. It is like the yawning of a lizard, the jaws sharp, soundless, merciless.
Who the devil? What?
Dr. Broom. It's me, Titus. Don't speak.
Titus?
I climbed the ivy. No, don't light the candle. We want your help.
We?
Flay is with me.
What? Flay?
Yes. He's come from exile. Out of concern for Fuchsia and me and the laws. Can you come? We're trailing Steerpike. He's just outside.
I am flattered.
Sliding into an elegant dressing gown and slippers.
I am more than flattered. Lead on, dear boy. Lead on.
There is the thorn tree, an inky etching against the rising sun, but there is no Steerpike, and no Flay.
Look for the chalk marks on the ground, Dr. Prune. There, Dr. Prune, there.
Oh, to have young eyes.
Come on.
So begins a series of dusky journeys through a new world, a world of twisting passageways, shallow flights of stairs, long treadless inclines, a maze of dawn-lit stone. Hour upon weary hour, and never a sight of Flay or their quarry. Then, suddenly, turning the corner of a high wall, they see him.
Flay!
Shh, boy.
Doctor, we have found him. Look.
Hid by shadows, they move out into the corridor and view a new artery of stone. Ahead of them, Steerpike, his monkey gambling in the dust, unlocks a door and with a broken pole gently pushes it open. The monkey swings on the door handle with its nervous little hands, then drops to the floor within. But it does not drop alone. An axe, severing the long tail and burying its murderous edge in the mouldering carpet. The axe that was meant for Steerpike. He enters the room.
Come on.
From the doorway, the doctor, Flay, and Titus see two skeletons in purple rags, decomposing relics, staring with empty eye sockets at the ceiling. And Steerpike, strutting like a cockerel, cavorting like a savage, wild, vital, diabolic. Then Flay steps from the shadows.
You! Flay? Yes, it is Flay.
Seeing the life of a fugitive spread out before him, Steerpike reaches for his knife.
You will drop that. Do you hear me? You will drop your knife. You will come forward with your arms raised. You are under arrest.
A red cloud fills Steerpike's brain. His body shudders with a kind of lust.
I give you one last chance. If you have not dropped your knife within 5 seconds from now, we will advance upon you.
It is not the knife that falls, but Flay. The blade of Steerpike's knife quivers in his heart.
Oh, in the name of all that's precious!
In an instant of confusion, Steerpike leaps over his adversaries and is gone. Flay, the loyal seneschal, is dead.
All normal work shall be suspended.
The Countess, a mountain of menacing power and ruthless simplicity.
Man, woman, and child shall be given their orders of search. Every known spring and wellhead, every cistern, tank and cashment shall have its sentry. No doubt the beast must drink. I shall outwit him. But the ceremonies must continue.
Thank you for coming. But there's nothing we can talk about.
Fuchsia, within her now a globe of pain, growing and growing.
I can't believe he's dead.
Who?
Flay, of course. And all the things he did. What about his cave? Empty forever, I suppose. Would you like to...
No. I don't want to go anywhere, really, Titus. I've gone dead. Even you are dead in me. I know I love you. You're the only one I love. But I can't feel anything. And I don't want to. I felt too much. I'm sick of feelings. I'm frightened of them.
A space has formed between them, and they have no bridge. Storm clouds yawn like hippopotami. Deep holes and funnels open and close mouth-like. Titus, the child of fate, forces his way through the trackless forest. Ritual and observance deserted, his place at the ceremony of bright carvings empty, he is a rebel like a lyric in green flight. The rains come. Tepid water hammering him, streaming over his body as he runs, in search of the flying thing. He lusts to touch those floating limbs. She is freedom. She is romance. He finds her, his foster sister, in Flay's cave, balancing upon her heels, swiveling a plucked bird on a spit above a small fire. All about her are feathers. Is this her? This naked, squatting thing? This...
Frog! She is a frog. I thought she was a swallow.
And then she turns and looks at him.
She is joy.
Startled, the sprite leaps, but Titus catches her, closes his arm around her, grips her with an angry strength, forces the full weight of his body across her. Body and imagination fuse in throbbing lust.
Oh.
And then he sees her face. So small.
A robin's egg.
His body weakens. The first wild virgin kiss trembles on his lips and dies. He lays his cheek against hers. There will be no climax. Suddenly, she is gone. His teeth meet in the dark core of life. Through the cave mouth, he sees her, naked as the rain, running, leaping, vaulting through the lightning. And as he watches, a searing flash of flame breaks loose, rips a path across the dazzled floods, and burns her up as if she were a dry leaf in its path. And in Titus, something burns away even as she has been burned away. Something has died as though it had never been. At 17, he has stepped into another country. He has become a man.
By all that's pluvious, there has never been such a deluge.
Gormenghast is marooned. The fish of Gormenghast River swim out in every direction and in through the castle's lowest windows.
Never in living memory. Never!
The Gaunt Asylum has become an island. Water rises like terror, inch by clammy inch.
The sacred laws must be preserved. Do you hear me?
My lady.
1,000,000 ancient volumes, 1,000 crates of sacrosanct and yellowing paper dragged to the attics from a swamp of pulp.
The kitchens, livestock and supplies must be moved another floor up. Am I understood?
We'll begin at once.
Sooner!
Cattle, horses, grain and food, fuel, grist and treasure, vintage and hoards of miscellaneous lumber, furniture, chattels, works of vanity and works of art.
The waters are rising. In 6 hours' time, the flood will be at our feet. There is no possibility of the night being spent on this level. You have my order of priority, have you not?
Certainly, your ladyship.
And then, gentlemen, we shall begin. The mounting water draws us all together. Is that not so, gentlemen? We are driven up, are we not, into a confine? Tell me, gentlemen, can the traitor Steerpike live in air and feed on it? Can he chew the cloud, or swallow the thunder, or fill his belly with lightning? Or can he live beneath the water like the pike I see below me in the darkness? No, he is like us, gentlemen, like us.
I hate nature.
Belgroves, in a small loft, the great castle beneath them like a gigantic body with its arteries filled with water.
I hate it! The rotten beast!
Tut, tut. You can't talk about nature like that. You're a piece of nature yourself.
Oh, don't be stupid.
Well, if you're not nature, or a bit of it, what the hell are you?
I'm a woman! I said I'm a woman!
Yes,
Belgrove stares at where a piece of plaster has fallen from the wall and left a small grey pattern, the shape of a heart. For little short of a fortnight, the deluge continues, turning Gormenghast into archipelagos of gaunt-fisted towers. Then the rains cease, and the agitated waters become silent, motionless.
Mother! Mother!
What is it?
I've seen him.
Who?
Steerpike.
Where? Where did you see him?
I could take you there. It's northwards.
Beyond the Blackstone Quarter?
Far beyond.
How long ago?
Hours. He has a boat. He went through a window.
Did he see you?
No.
Are you sure of that?
Yes.
Then we have him. I will have the search captains called immediately. We start in 1 hour from now. You have done well. Gormenghast will be avenged. You have surprised me.
I did not do it for Gormenghast.
No?
No, Mother. I hate Steerpike for other reasons.
What reasons?
He killed Flay and hurt my sister. He probably killed Nanny too, and he would have killed Dr. Prune and me if he could have. Isn't that enough? To hell with Gormenghast!
I am not Fuchsia.
She locks herself away and freezes within herself.
People think I am Fuchsia, but I am someone else. Someone young and beautiful and brave as a lioness.
Standing at the window, staring out across the water.
The sort of person who would not only think of ending the pain in her heart, but be the kind of person who would have the courage to do it. What would such a person do? Oh, why, such a person would stand upon the windowsill above the water.
The body following the course of her imagination.
And she would...
Your ladyship, Lady Fuchsia.
Fuchsia, starting, trying to turn, slipping, clutching at air.
Not Fuchsia! Not Fuchsia! Oh, God in heaven, no, 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 no!
Steerpike, asleep in a small canoe that bobs gently on the inky water filling the room. The window, like a square of light, is the only way in and out. The room is a cave. Steerpike is waiting for nightfall to make his escape. Blood shines behind the lenses of his eyes. His thin, colorless lips part like an open gash in a mask of wax.
They've come for me.
In the room above,
Where is the carpenter?
Here, your ladyship.
You have your saw?
Yes.
Saw through the floor. The enemy is beneath our feet.
Our lady.
on the orders of the Countess, a flotilla of boats forms a semicircle outside the cave room. One of the boats moves forwards, alone. Steering the skiff, a man in a broad-brimmed leather hat, blade in his mouth. A volunteer driving through the water towards the enemy of his people. The oarsman passes through the window.
Faster, man!
I'm almost through, my lady.
What can you see?
My lady!
What's that?
Oh, there is the Countess there!
It's the volunteer. It's the volunteer, lady. He's immediately below.
What does he say? For the love of the stones, what does he say, man?
No, ladyship, there's nothing here! Only a room full of water! There's no way out but the window! Doors and water jammed! Nothing but water, tell her!
The grisly fowl is flown!
He's gone, if he ever was here, which I doubt!
I saw him! He was there!
Volunteer!
Lowering herself, her heart gone dead.
Volunteer!
My lady!
The shoulders, the man's shoulders.
Let me see your face.
A sudden surge of water sweeps through the window below. The boat twists on the wash and swell. There is a glimpse, a flash of something.
White and scarlet.
Something skewbald.
It is him!
And another face, empty, dead, bobs to the surface like a loaf of bread, and sinks again.
The volunteer is dead! The traitor is in the room!
Let me at him!
Hold the boy! Restrain him!
Hold, Titus!
Boatmen, move forward! Draw your knives! He will be brought out dead!
Never!
Steerpike dives deep into watery blackness. He feels for the wall and finds not stone, but a matted, fibrous, subaqueous blanket. Ivy. Tearing and clawing, Steerpike pulls himself up and into the ivy. The world goes black, but still he grapples with its saturated midnight, its endless, hairy arms and fingers, until he reaches...
Light every torch aboard, every lantern. Great hell, he is no merman. He must breathe. He must.
Steerpike breathes, his body supported by a network of ivy boughs.
Let me kill him. Let me.
No, by the blood of love.
Titus half vaults, half tumbles through the window, snatching and catching the tentacles of ivy.
Boatmen, come close, quickly.
Titus begins his descent, forcing his way through the network of twisted, hairy bones.
I will kill him. For Fuchsia, for Flay, for Nanny.
Below him, Steerpike. Nothing left of his brain. The brilliant mind has become a cloud of crimson.
I will kill him. Then, sweet glory of wickedness, I will kill myself. Gormenghast shall not have me.
Then one of the parasitic arms gives way, and falling through the branches, Titus sees two red points of light below.
Steerpike!
A knife stabs. Again and again. Pain. Blood. The world spins and goes back. Titus opens his eyes and stares. Narrow, pale, with an open mouth, small, lackluster eyes that are turned up. Steerpike is dead.
It is done!
Titus looks up at his mother, framed by the window. His eyes shine strangely. Then a black faint takes him. He falls forward into a trench of darkness. Moment by moment, hour by hour, Day by day, month by month, the great flood waters fall. The washed air is indescribably sweet, and a tranquility swims through the realm. It is spring, an evening in late spring, the sky filled with a faint coral-colored light. Titus stands by the place on Gormenghast mountain where they have buried his sister.
I'm going, Fuchsia.
His pale eyes, a stonish blue with a hint of dim and sullen purple.
I must go. I must be free. Now is the time to go.
He runs, in acknowledgement of a law as old as the laws of his home. The law of flesh and blood, the law of longing, the law of change, the law of youth.
Find the master of the stables. Tell him to saddle the mare. He will know her. The grey mare with the white foot. He will bring her to the Tower of Flints. I will be there shortly.
On again, out of key with normality. Suddenly, turning a corner, he encounters...
Titus, my dear boy.
My lord!
How are you, young fellow?
I cannot stop. Forgive me. Professor, Mrs. Belgrove. Dear Dr. Prune. Goodbye.
Very odd.
What did he mean, goodbye? I said, what did he mean?
What indeed, I wonder? What indeed?
Gertrude, candlelit, gazing expressionlessly at a picture book.
Mother?
Well?
I'm going. Goodbye.
Going where?
I am leaving. I am leaving Gormenghast. I cannot explain. I do not want to talk. I came to tell you, and that is all. Goodbye, Mother.
There is nowhere else. You will tread a circle, Titus Groan.
At his back, the castle climbs into the night. Before him, a great terrain of moonlit wilderness. Fixing his eyes upon the blurred horizon, Titus rides out of his world.
There is not a road, not a track, but it will lead you home. For everything comes to Gormenghast.
Gormenghast, the second of two plays based on the Titus Groan novels of Mervyn Peake, was dramatised for radio by Brian Sibley. Steerpike was played by Sting, Dr. Prunesqualler, Bernard Hepton, Irma Prunesqualler, Judy Parfitt, Gertrude, Eleanor Bron, Clarice and Cora, Sheila Hancock, Fuchsia, Jill Lidston, Flay, Cyril Shaps, Barquentine, Morris Denham, Belgrove, Michael Aldridge, Nanny Slag, Hilda Schroeder, Titus, aged 7, Vicky Ireland, Titus, aged 17, Julian Firth. The professors were played by Arnold Diamond, John Forbes Robertson, David Garth, David Goodison, David Sinclair, and Alan Thompson. The artist was Freddie Jones. Technical presentation by Lloyd Silverthorne, assisted by Colin Duff and Peter Marsh. Gormenghast was directed by Glyn Dearman.